Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's the morning after, guys. Is everybody hungover from celebrating the cancellation of the Acolyte? How many funeral live streams did they do?
I don't know.
Let's talk about this because it seems like Twitter and the media are having a very hard time coping with the fact that an expensive show that doesn't get a return on its investment for its parent company gets canceled. That's just the way it works. I think a lot of people are thinking it's still 2018, 2019 when there was lots of free money and you could just greenlight whatever. And if it was a failure, you just do more because there's infinite money, and that's not the case.
And they're losing their shit and they're blaming it on these toxic fans. I'm like,
toxic fans.
You cannot be. It's not Schrodinger's fandom. How can they be like a vocal minority and have all the power to stop the show at the same time? It can't be both ways. And you're talking a global audience. So everybody in the world who watched the show are all toxic because they didn't watch the show. Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah, they didn't watch the show. And we're going to talk about that.
There comes Rachel. I can't wait to kick
Rachel
her ass.
Leishman from the Mary Sue. Like, Disney's happy to let the toxic dude bros
win. Of course, because it's always toxic men who don't like the show. Never mind, there were a lot of people who didn't watch the show, both male and female. There's a lot of women who watched the show and didn't like it. Never mind that. We have to go with the incel toxic dude, bro, misogynistic, racist, all that shit. I guarantee all these arguments are going to have the same thing because, it's called people didn't watch your damn show. Sorry.
If, I tried to explain to people last night, right? People that were having a hard time wrapping their heads around the concept. It was canceled because nobody watched it. It doesn't matter. If YouTubers bitched about it endlessly and it got the watch time and it made the money that Disney expected it to make or whatever their criteria was, they would have greenlit another season, right? They would have. They're just like, hey, if the show's a hit, it's a hit. And there are movies that YouTube absolutely hated that made bank at the box office. And then they got sequels or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is what I understand. Like you're saying, are they the vocal minority, or is it just they are voicing what most people feel about a lot of these franchises?
Actually, the majority, at the end of the day, isn't the ones who didn't like the show, isn't the ones who like the show. It's the bunch of people who didn't even watch the show.
Yeah.
Because they had no interest in the show.
Normies don't care about Disney Star Wars.
That's who's to blame.
Yeah, we'll talk about this because this is the thing. Like, Disney has lost the plot when it comes to Star Wars, literally and figuratively. But normies don't care. Like all these new Star Wars toys, we're seeing them on clearance for like $1.
Oh my
God,
the Jedi. Did you take a picture of it?
I did.
Yeah, they were on clearance, and they were the young Jedi was Academy or whatever figures, the plushies, $1.
$1.
They were $10, $1.
And they can't give them away. Like, nobody's buying this shit.
Maybe
it's dog toys. I don't know.
There wasn't a whole lot of Star Wars toys on clearance at our Walmart. The reason being is
all this stuff was, though.
But I was saying, but I had a reason. There wasn't hardly any Star Wars toys to begin with to be on clearance because nobody wanted them. Our Walmart doesn't even hardly get any in. There's a couple pegs. That's about it. Like a little teeny section. And most of the stuff that they have in, they cleared out stuff before. It's all the stuff that they currently have in. I'm expecting them to go on clearance because no one's buying them. They've been warming the shelves this entire time.
So let's talk about business 101. I think we're going back to a very capitalist way of doing business where things that are successful will get renewed and get sequels, and things that are not successful, it doesn't matter how much you scream about it online, they don't care. It's not worth hundreds of millions of dollars just to own the chuds. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo! It was funny. I just want to say this before we get into it any further. When I was at the Walmart and I was buying up some toys on clearance for kids for like Angel Tree later on because they had some really good prices. There was a couple ladies that were in there and they were just buying up. Anything that was like $1.50, whatever, they were buying it all. And they were doing it because they were using it for like the Christmas shop at this elementary school, you know, for buying ahead. So they had little things for kids to buy that could be affordable, good stuff affordable. They wouldn't even touch those.
Because kids aren't watching it.
They just walked right by it. And they were buying everything else. And there's a couple things they weren't sure about. Like there's this cat something show. And they're like, is it a Disney show? Is it good? And I said, honestly, you could buy them, but I don't think kids really like them. And they were looking at them. They're asking their kids what people were interested in. And they went to this. No one likes that. Didn't buy them.
So on that note, right, and this isn't to humble brag or anything, but Geeky does, every year she does Angel Tree and Salvation Army and Toys for Tots and all that. She gives a lot to a lot of kids who don't have. We're in Western Pennsylvania. The economy is not great, right? So we do what we can do. And it's been what, like 4 or 5 years now that you've been doing that? And I don't think you've ever gotten a single request for Star Wars, ever.
I'll do Legos, but because kids ask for Legos, but I'd never get Star Wars ever. Never.
No, and that's even like at the height of the popularity of the Mandalorian. Like nobody was asking for Grogu things or anything.
No, there was a couple older kids.
Oh, you did have
we
a couple?
have some. Okay. We have some teenage. Oh, I get requests for some teenage kids because unfortunately, like after a certain age, they don't let you be part of the thing. And for them, they had some that like Grogu, but that was it. They're Baby Yoda. That was it.
But it wasn't like, I mean, we had lots of kids asking for Spider-Man stuff.
Always.
But anyway, that's just anecdotally. I mean, this coupled with the piles and piles and piles of unsold Disney Star Wars stuff at
Legos is always the #1 request.
Yeah. Even the Lego Star Wars doesn't seem to be selling like it did before. But yeah, I was first made aware of the disturbance in the Force last night. People were complaining.
We were there like not long after it happened.
Yeah, and a couple hours later, I went out to Twitter and we had, this guy. And I'm not trying to look. I want to be clear. Other than you don't like Rachel Leishman very much, but
I'm gonna have fun.
Other than that, I'm not trying to put anybody in the crosshairs.
Sanders pick me girl that is Rachel Leishman. Yes.
Yeah. So, you can like it, not like it, whatever. But at the end of the day, it was purely about the numbers. This person said the Acolyte being canceled is another example of toxic internet hate. The show never got a chance to breathe. And half the people hating on it never even watched an episode.
No, the problem is people didn't watch the show, Alec.
That is the problem. Actually, a lot of people watched the first or second episode, and you can see a massive drop-off. People watched it. They're like, this sucks.
So, yeah, but I'm saying a lot of people didn't watch the show. And then they don't, Disney's not looking at people who complained about it on Twitter or on YouTube.
No.
They're looking at the numbers who actually watched the damn show, Alec.
So, and again, don't harass Alec. This isn't to put Alec in the crosshairs, but I'm just like, this is repeated time and time again. I'm tired of sharing the franchise I love with toxic, misogynist, immature racists.
Yeah, me too, Amy, except I would say toxic, misandrist, immature racist.
And constantly seeing them be catered to, even though the rest of us have been here all along wanting new and fresh stories.
Whoa, Amy. Whoa, Amy.
Not enough of you.
Whoa, Amy. Back up the bus, Amy. A couple things. Bullshit, Amy. They aren't catered to. That's the problem. They canceled this show because the views weren't there. They tripled down on Rey.
Yeah.
They completely effed up Luke Skywalker, and they did bring him back in The Mandalorian and kind of fixed it a little bit. But anybody who's been a long time fan, been there all along, would not have wanted to see Luke Skywalker treated like shit.
No.
Amy.
No.
Bullshit, you've been here all along. Yeah, I do would like some. I too would like some new and fresh stories, but I don't want it to be this shit. I want it to make sense, Amy. And you know what? Why would they pander to men and try to make shows that would make men happy when it comes to Star Wars? Oh, could it be because the male audience is the bigger audience in Star Wars? There are people like us, Amy, who like Star Wars that are women, but the majority of them are men. That's just fact-based, research-based, data-based information.
And this is why Geeky is a diamond, because she was in the Star Wars when a lot of women weren't. It was like, it was a quote unquote deal breaker for some women. You weren't allowed to be in the Star Wars because Star Wars was stupid.
Well, I was in Star Wars. I was at the movies when they came back in the day when you couldn't buy tickets online ahead. When they did the re-releases, I was in line. I was at the front of the line. I was either first in line or like second in line usually, surrounded by, it was me and my one friend Kim and a bunch of dudes. And it was lots and lots of dudes. And I'll tell you what, there were some women that came in later, but for the majority of people that were there waiting, that were all excited about, that were there early, waiting to get in and wanted to see the first showing, it was mostly dudes.
Yeah.
Not one of them treated me like I shouldn't have been there. They were excited I was there and talked me up like crazy.
I'm sure they were. You were pretty hot back then. I'm sure they were. They were
like, let's talk about Star Wars. Yeah. And you know what? It was mostly men. Women showed up later. They did show up later. There were women in line later. But the ones that got there really early because you want to be the first ones in the theater, there was two of us that were women. It was me and my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to the midnight showing of The Phantom Menace, and I don't remember. There were some girls there, some women there, but not very many.
And if you look at the old pictures, though, if you go back into the historical pictures of like the Star Wars movies, any of them at the theaters, and you look at the line of people waiting to get in, bunch of men, bunch of women, a bunch of not white people.
Yeah, so
everybody loves Star Wars.
That was weird. It seemed like there was a shakeout at some point because it's kind of like video games too, right? Like when the Atari 2600 was out, and you look at these old commercials and you see that they were, catering to like a family demographic or whatever. And then eventually it kind of became like a dude thing. Star Wars, I think too. I think a lot of people were into it initially, and then it just kind of the people that, stuck with it, I think tended to be dudes.
You look at the photos, it was more men than anybody.
Yeah.
But the whole lie that there weren't women isn't true.
No,
but it does tend to be male skewing. It always has, and more so than Marvel. And they said that Star Wars is more male dominated, with many titles having 70% or greater male share of audience.
Yeah.
And they said it's also an older audience than the Marvel franchise. So Marvel had a couple, if you look at this graph, that did come over into the female audience as the majority. Mm. Star Wars had none.
I think they tried unsuccessfully to turn, this is Disney being they tried unsuccessfully to turn their version of Star Wars into a lifestyle brand, which is why they pushed for female protagonists, which is why they pushed for like girly merchandise, and they pushed for little girls to get into Star Wars, because in their mind, their thought process was, we'll double our money because the men will buy whatever, even if we constantly mock them, run them down, treat their heroes like shit. They'll just keep buying Star Wars because it's Star Wars.
But they're also misunderstanding. They think that the only way women will watch Star Wars is they make it like the Acolyte.
Girly, yeah.
And that's not true. Like there was a lot of women characters and female characters, especially in the books and stuff, and games and things involving Star Wars. You would know that if you were a longtime fan. But that's all I did. They're taking what we like and ruining it. Nuh-uh. No, they didn't. They never did.
So let's get on the list, and we'll get to your friend Rachel
I can't wait to see
Leishman.
what Rachel goes on about.
So this is Phantom Wire, just another example of toxic internet hate. It's probably one I pulled out. They said, Star Wars fans lost one of the best dark side users with the Acolyte's cancellation. It's shirtless, too. Not enough people watched it, right? They're lamenting it. So this is Alec. This is a guy that, and again, don't call him out. Here's some other ones. You're telling me that we all have to forget about one of the sickest Star Wars dark side users we've gotten in years? Yeah. Not really. Whatever comes next, it's not going to take away your memories of the past, right? Isn't that what we were told?
You can still watch it.
You can still watch it in reruns, unless they purge it off the platform.
It's not like Willow yet.
That they dumped it off the platform. This person here, to be honest, I knew it was over when only books were announced at Celebration. I think this is the High Republic, right? This is what they were pushing. This is their next phase of Star Wars, which was like diversity and dinosaurs, and then we finally get a TV show based on this version of Star Wars, and it goes over about as well as the books, which are in clearance at always with all the other shit too, right? We need season 2. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So let's go out to see what Rachel Leishman's talking about. She changed the title of this, by the way. The original title was, "Is the Acolyte Canceled?"
Well, of course she did, because she can't stand it. It wasn't getting, why she changed it? It wasn't getting her enough attention.
Right. She only got 3 comments.
Because she's desperately trying to get, like, look at me. That's what she's desperately trying to do.
Disney is happy to let the toxic dude bros win,
right, because if you don't like the show, it's clearly because you're just a man.
Speaking of diapers.
There you go, Rachel.
Diapers.
There you go.
It's also peach time. It's peach time, too.
She probably needs both. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear what she goes. We guess calls to renew on series of social media for the finale, and for a moment it felt like the fans who actually find joy in Star Wars could win for us. Whoa! So the only people who like Star Wars and find joy in it are people that like what she likes.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah.
What's the problem? But but 10-1, she probably writes hit posts. I know she writes shit posts about Star Wars fans who like the old shows and the old movies and things. She likes about movies and books. She shit posts about that. But when it's joy in new Star Wars, she had. Star Wars fans can be split into 3 parts. Those who love the franchise more than anything. Those who just enjoy watching it but aren't diehards. And then the kind of toxic fans who root it for everyone. Well, maybe they liked Star Wars and they liked it more than anything until you gave them shitty shows and movies.
Yeah, maybe.
So wait, why are one toxic, one's not? So you have ones who love it, who love everything that shits out, but they're not toxic.
I'll tell you the three parts according to these people. It's the people who like what I like, the people who mostly like what I like, and then the nasty people who don't like anything I like because they're awful people and they're probably Nazis too, and they probably kick.
Oh yeah, here people who spend their time angry on YouTube and cry about Luke Skywalker's death not being cool enough for them. Those are toxic ones to me. Well, that's okay, Rachel. You're the toxic bitch to me.
So
scream more, Rachel.
Here's the problem. I guess the bean counters at Disney are also toxic because all they care about
the bean flicker like Rachel, they are.
Yeah, two types of fans: the bean flickers and the bean counters. And this is a tale as old as time, right? It doesn't matter what the internet thinks. Regardless of how many views a lot of YouTubers get, you get guys like Nerdrotic that gets, he'll get like 15, 20,000 people watching him. In the grand scheme of things, Disney doesn't care if they're bringing the view, right? I mean, that's not me slamming him. I'm just saying they're just looking at the numbers and they're like, the numbers aren't good. It costs $180 million or some crazy amount. Like, I don't know where the money went, but they're like, we burnt this money. We're not getting a return on it. This, Rachel, it has nothing to do with the YouTubers online.
All the people who didn't watch the show, who they thought were Star Wars fans, it has more to do with it.
You can see the trajectory, and there was a definite decline in quality in these shows. Mandalorian actually won people back. They won me back.
That's season 3, though.
That's season 3. So 2
even
is
season 3 when people knew was crap. It still did great. And that's what the complaints.
But look at the decline. Okay, that wasn't too good. Oh, yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, it wasn't too good. Oh, yeah, Obi-Wan. Oh, God, and this is not good. And now unfortunately, Andor paid the price because I haven't watched Andor, but people said
it's got season 2 coming.
Oh, does that? Okay, so Andor has a season 2 coming.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Because the fans, even though it wasn't watched very much, the fans that watched it, they loved it. Like, it was a lot of people, not everyone, but it was, critically liked and a lot of people liked it. So, and that was also before they were being so penny pinching. So they greenlit it. They might even have greenlit both seasons back then.
That does happen. People,
they might have even greenlit both then.
People tend to, dance in the end zone sometimes like, oh, look, we're getting the season 2 of whatever cartoon show. I'm like, sometimes it's just part of the initial episode order. Right? Like they might have ordered 16 or 26 episodes. They might split it up into like 2 Netflix seasons or something. But that's the initial episode order is for that many.
I want to, yes. I'm sorry. I was want to point out this because people were going to say, just FYI, when they did this graphic at that point, the Acolyte only had 5.5 weeks of data. Since this article was released, I think we're out to almost 12 weeks. Yeah. It must not, even if it doubled through its run, because only, the 12 weeks, almost 12 weeks of data, it wouldn't still not have caught up to Ahsoka. Yeah. All right? It must not have done well.
No, it didn't.
And there's your answer.
If the show was good and the normies who do not watch YouTubers watched the first couple episodes and they thought it was the best damn Star Wars they ever watched and they tuned in week after week, because fandoms will forgive you. I mean, look at what's going on with Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Right. They fumbled the ball massively, but then they came back swinging. And it's one of the highest viewed streaming shows out there. They'll forgive you. But like people are checking it out. I think they're checking it out. And they're like, it's dog shit. I don't want to watch anymore. I watched one episode to review it, the infamous episode 3 with the witch chant. And I'm like, yeah, I have no desire at all to watch any more of this. There's some decent acting, but this show's dumb. I think they were
counting on the Raylos, because by 5.5 weeks of data, that would have been like, before going to the 5th episode. It would have been more than that, because the first episode's 1-2. So yeah, that would be almost the end. I think they were counting on the Raylos to bring it up, and it didn't. And I don't think it did.
This is... Okay, oh my God, I'm reading ahead here. So I think this video, and this might actually be the thumbnail, this video can be summed up with one phrase: fuck your feelings, because that's basically Disney at this point. That's basically...
That's what I'm saying. Disney's doing this because if it's not profitable, they're not interested.
And that is both sides of it, right? They would be the same way with the angry nerd YouTubers. If it was making all kinds of money and they're selling the shit out of merchandise and it was like, damn, this is a massive hit, they'd be like, fuck your feelings, we're going to greenlight 2 more seasons.
I got every single of these toxic bros, like, again, because, if you don't agree with Rachel, everyone who's a woman who has tits agrees with Rachel. Every single thing the bros like is another season. Look, I love The Mandalorian, but they don't have an issue with that show because it was good until season 3. They were furious about Obi-Wan Kenobi, a great show. No, it wasn't, Rachel. Tell me you weren't a Star Wars fan without telling me you weren't a Star Wars fan, because if Obi-Wan would be hanging out with Luke, it would not be about little Leia. That made no fucking sense, Rachel.
I personally didn't like the fact that we had Obi-Wan and Vader fighting before episode 4.
Yeah, though some people didn't like that either.
That just, to me, that didn't make any damn sense. But whatever.
And then they're angry YouTube warriors that got mocked the book of Boba Fett repeatedly. So did the media, Rachel. So did Tamara Morrison.
So the star's like, this isn't Boba Fett. God, look at all the ads. They must be hard
They're
up
all
for
for
cash.
alcohol.
It's all not enough Captain Morgan to make this go down.
If they like the show, they're rewarded. About the rest of us, again, Rachel, by the 70% of the Star Wars demographic is male. Rachel, male.
Oh my God, this is funny. They're
And a dog
rewarded.
vomiting.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Oh, it's eating grass. Sorry. It was going to be relatable, puppy. Relatable.
God, it's hard being a fan of this franchise my entire life. I've been quizzed by men who think they know more. That does happen. I've watched stories I love get trashed because some guy decided it was bad, made that his whole personality, but still stuck around. I did that because I love this franchise. I just wish this franchise loved its actual fans.
Whoa. Fuck you, Rachel.
Fuck your feelings.
You're an actual fan because you like this shit, because your whole life. So have I. I've been watching it my whole life too, Rachel. They even fucking named the character after me, Rachel.
That is true, 100%.
Don't tell me that if I don't like something, it's because I'm not the real fan, but you are. Kindly sit and spin, you catty bitch. I'm tired. I'm tired. If you don't like it, it's because you're a man. It's because you're a toxic man. And people like Rachel are the poor innocent female victims. Screw you, Rachel. Screw you, Rachel. I'm so tired of it. There's a lot of us women who don't agree with you. And I'm so tired of you going on about how it's not right to marginalize women, and then you marginalize women.
Isn't she the one who tried to quiz Gary from Nerdrotic?
She was questioning him
about Doctor Who, and he had this massive collection of Doctor Who figures and Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff because he's a huge Whovian. Classic Doctor, and she's like, that's my friend. See, this is the thing. These people come in, a lot of them. I'm not saying everybody's this way, right? I'm not saying every new fan's this way, but you get people like Rachel who come in and they decide, this is my fandom now. This is my thing. Because I guarantee you, she's not old enough to have been around when the movies first came out.
I don't know. I think she's older.
You think she's older?
I think she's older. No, because she's like things before. I think she's closer to our age.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm saying we get a lot of people like this, Raylos and stuff that come in that, once it's theirs, once they decide it's their thing, whether it's, Star Wars or, Dungeons and Dragons or whatever it is, then all of a sudden they want to call the shots.
That is theirs. But the comments, though. Let's look at the comments.
Yeah.
I really like the Acolyte.
3 comments.
I like the Acolyte. I hate the discourse around it, but it's not Disney giving in to anyone. No. If there had been enough views, they would have renewed it, period.
Thank you,
No business is going to walk away from money because some neckbeards called them woke or whatever. If
that
they
is
weren't
100%
worried
true.
about this sort of thing, the show would never have been made in the first place.
Yes.
They just want to turn a profit. Echo's getting a second season after all.
Really?
Apparently.
Wow.
It's the only.
Didn't cost as much.
Only men who don't like the show. And this last comment, it's the fact that they saw the need to explicitly tell us that it was canceled that annoys me. No, they didn't. Actually, they didn't. This person. It was Deadline sources that told them it was canceled. Disney, I don't think, has ever confirmed it.
No, they never they're not going to put a release out and say, hey, everybody, there's not going to be any more Acolyte. Probably somebody found out Lucasfilm went run into the media and was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to have to
There's any number of Marvel and Star Wars shows that we got one season of and probably all we'll get, but they never seen the need to say, don't worry, guys, we won't do that again. They didn't this time either.
They didn't. It got leaked.
I thought it was perfectly fine. It was a nice look at that old Republic era, but I guess it had too many dumb old girls. That's not what happened.
Has anybody
complained about Young Jedi Adventures at all? Yes. And that's why the damn toys are $1 on clearance. Whatever your name is. Disney did not explicitly say. That's not true. Disney did not. Unless they've come out since, at least when it was announced last night, they didn't. If they did since, it was just to confirm it.
Yeah, so here we got Pajiba chiming in too.
Oh, yeah, toxic fans, man, baby's racist.
Toxic fans win. Oh, my God. Decision not to renew makes it the first major cancellation of a powerhouse property on Disney Plus and a harbinger of the belt tightening
That's what it is. It's about the belt tightening. It's about them not making money. Has nothing to do with people yelling about it on the internet. God.
Hopefully whoever's slung that shit is already out the door and there's no reason to muddy the water with the nonsense. Why even do that? What? I love the Acolyte. It was a breath of fresh air. Okay, so tell you what,
by the surprise.
Go to Kickstarter and raise $100 million and give it to Disney, and maybe they'll make more. This is the same with these animation stands too. Like, they don't understand how much this shit costs. Now, if it was like, hey, this made money, it actually made a profit, and it's obvious there's a massive appetite for it and the merchandise is selling. Oh yeah, some angry YouTubers didn't like it. Yeah, I think we're just going to cancel it. No, they would never do that. And they're blaming, they're like, you don't represent the majority of fandom, you angry YouTubers, but it's your fault that Disney made a decision based on you complaining about it. Like, what the fuck?
I'll shit on Rachel all day long.
It's CGI Luke all the time now. Fortunately, we've hit the art as commerce section of our tale. I'm not beholden to shareholders or however businesses work.
Right, because that's, how you get these shows made in the first place.
I don't know how it works, but just make some more. She-Ra, okay? So it's easy for me to say, hey, Disney, 180 million, please. It's a hard sale to make, even with the numbers to back it up. No, the numbers aren't good. It was the most expensive.
But they're trying to argue the numbers are backing it up. They're not. If the numbers backed it up, they would be doing it.
Yeah, I said there's a bloodletting across the industry as studios pull back. Yes. It's especially true of Disney, which came very close to milking Marvel to death by releasing too many shows. Yeah, they milk Star Wars, too. There's an argument to be made that Disney could strengthen Star Wars by continuing the Acolyte story. No, I think it's actually going to damage the brand and giving it a longer runway to bring in new fans.
Well, we can skip down here to this comment. This guy, I think they think now we're going to make more Star Wars shows for the real fans, men. But the reality is, they simply aren't going to make. They're going to make fewer Star Wars shows. Exactly.
I think that's
what it's about. It's not about people that watch the show. I mean, that's why people didn't watch the show. But I'm just saying it's about the fact that it's not about men and toxic men and people on the internet yelling about the show, because there's a lot of dudes who watch the show. It's about the fact that there wasn't enough people to watch the show, and it's been in decline steadily on every show.
Supposedly, the rumor is they're trying to course correct Marvel, but they need to do the same thing with Star Wars, and they need to take it back to basics. And I'm sorry, you don't like it, but the reason people got back on board with Star Wars when they brought The Force Awakens out was they promised the original trilogy characters, and they promised to kind of return the form, and that's what people know.
I'm just real quick, just to end this. I'm so tired of it. Trying to talk about merchandising Golden Goose, but the little green guy isn't a yucky girl. So he gets a movie, even though numbers for the fart known as The Mandalorian season 3 took a nosedive.
I agree with that.
Because season 3 took a nosedive. But The Mandalorian was way more popular than The Acolyte. And I'm tired of this. It's because it's not a girl. Tell me you're like, I'm going to see Star Wars forever. No, you haven't. Because if you did, then you'd know. There have been strong female characters in Star Wars for years. They've had them in the original trilogy. They had them in droves in the books and in the games. And then in the prequel trilogy, they brought strong women back again. Oh, we haven't been strong female characters at all. So they don't like, because Baby Yoda's not a yucky girl. I'm like, bullshit.
Like half the Jedi.
Just sit and spin, you whiny cunts. I don't know what to tell you. I hate that word too. I'm going to use it because it's a bunch of women who are like mad because they think, well, our representation, like if you were part of Star Wars fandom to begin with, one, you can relate to characters that don't have the same gender as you.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't tells me you weren't a fan for a long time.
Yeah.
Two, if you've been a fan for years like you people claim, then there are all kinds of female characters you could have related to. It wasn't a new thing. This show got canceled because the numbers weren't there.
Yes.
Making fun of Grogu isn't going to change the fact the numbers weren't there. And The Mandalorian season 3, go back to that graphic, still kicked the Acolyte's ass. And it went off a cliff because people thought it wasn't as good as the other two seasons. The reason the other two seasons aren't on here is because their graph goes way farther than this.
Way the hell out of here. Yeah.
So, I don't know what to tell you.
I think it's the safest bet for Disney. If I were Disney and I was looking at all this stuff, and I'd be like, okay, people don't like Rey, let's push that one back. Mandalorian was the closest thing to resuscitating Star Wars that we had. Let's do a Mandalorian movie. I think it was as simple as that. It was as simple as that. So
that is exactly what it's about.
It's basically fuck your feelings. We got to make money on this shit. We cannot afford to let Star Wars rot anymore.
And majority of the Star Wars fan base are male.
And they are.
And the ones that aren't male, a bunch of the women liked it anyway.
Yeah.
So, wham wham,
Man, man.
cry me a river.
Okay, so let's wrap.
Pampers for you.
Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.